That up is going to take us to all the different functions that SBA has on their website. The biggest one we're going to talk about, you guys, the Christmas dinner, so to speak, is the grants management portion of it. So by opening that up, it's going to list all the different resources we have for state employees, so they can actually use eCivis to build these solicitations to get out to you guys, and then resources for subrecipients or applicants, which is you guys. Those are the terminology that we use for any non-state entity that's receiving money. So that's the terminology you're going to see on the user guides and on the website is going to be applicant, subrecipient. So that would be you guys. Okay. So again, here, if this is our big turkey or Thanksgiving dinner right here, or Christmas dinner, here is the prime rib. Here's where you guys really want to go to. These are our resources for subrecipients. Okay. But before I jump into that, I want to show you quickly a few little resources that you might find handy. Okay. Here we have our E7 login guidance. So remember I mentioned that we're using the eCivis portal compared to the eCivis Grants Network, okay? The eCivis Grants Network is for state agencies. Going back to that restaurant dinner philosophy is that the Grants Network is the kitchen. That's where they're cooking up all the meals for everybody, okay, in the same restaurant. And the eCivis Grants Network is the kitchen. And then the eCivis portal is the dining area. That's where you guys go to get the food that they're cooking up here in the eCivis kitchen. So good way of remembering that is that you guys are going to be applicant, subrecipient, and that's terminology is then used for portal, okay? So if you need to get to the portal, here we have a link that takes you right to that. And you guys have probably already been there. That's how you submit your applications. But if you didn't bookmark it, you need to figure out how to get to that. When you Google eCivis, you might get the Grants Network. Again, that's for state employees. The eCivis portal is for applicants, subrecipients. Quick note too is if you guys haven't ran into this yet, remember if you're using an Apple computer with a older Safari browser, there's a bit of an issue sometimes logging in. What you need to do is you need to uncheck the prevent cross-site tracking, okay? So this gives you, it's right under your settings under privacy. Just a little issue, but this takes care of that problem. So just wanted to point it out in case you do get stuck trying to log into it and you're using an Apple computer. 99% of the times, this is the problem right here. So let's jump back to our steering wheel real quick. And now the next thing I'm going to show you guys real quick before we go into our prime rib is our grants management workshop that we put on. We have workshops for the state employees so they can learn how to build these solicitations and to build these applications for you guys. They utilize the grants network for doing that. But again, you guys are applicants, subrecipients. So you're going to want to click on the non-state employees office hours. And these are little demonstrations that we put on that are led by me most of the time, but they're interactive, one-on-one kind of things that you can use to ask questions so that you can get involved with the presentation itself. It's not just sit back and watching it. You can actually, ask questions about that. And so it's an interactive way of getting those answers to the questions you've been looking for and to also see the processes that are going on. And it's kind of perfect timing for y'all, okay? Because back on December 5th, we had our training session 1, which you guys have already made it through. Congratulations. That's for setting up your portal, finding that solicitation, and submitting your application, okay? The next one coming up on January 16th, a couple are canceled here because of the holidays. But this is great. Training session 2 is basically what I'm going to do today. I'm going to walk you through how you are accepting the awards, submitting those reimbursement requests, submitting any kind of activity reports. Now that you're on the awarded side of the portal, you can actually build a team. Simple and easy.
In the training.
I'm sorry, did you have a question? Okay. So I'm going to show you how you can build your team now that you've been awarded these contracts. You can actually build a team that you can work in the portal to be able to manage this contract all the way from the beginning here to closing it out. So these training sessions are great, you guys. These office hours are great. That's why I wanted to highlight this is that, and again, it works perfect timing for you guys because if you watch today and go, that was pretty cool, but I kind of forgot this one part, you can come join us on the 16th, and we're actually going to go through pretty much the same exact thing that we'll be covering today for doing that. And then these are going to repeat. So great resource for you guys to take advantage of. If you ever have any questions about some of those things, you can always go to the grants management team. And again, non-state employees. And by clicking on that, we'll give the information so you can submit a ticket to us, or an email basically, which goes to the group so that we can get back to you quickly and easily about any kind of specific questions, whether you want to set up some one-on-one training, any kind of thing like that. Lots of resources so that you can help you get you through this whole process of managing those grants that you've got. Lots of great stuff here on the SBA website, but the prime rib of the dinner is that resources for subrecipients. Okay, so let's click on that, and you guys are probably somewhat familiar with this, hopefully, because like I say, this is the area where we have the information for how to get into the eCivis portal itself, how to apply for these grants, and all the things that you guys have already done. If you didn't know about this resource, here it is for you. It's great. Like I said, it walks you all through the processes of where you're at right now, how to set up your portal, how to apply to these grants, do anything like that. And then we're going to walk you all the way through the award management process of that too itself. What's so great about that is because that's where we are right now in the chain of things. We're managing that award. And then even when we get to closeout, we got you covered. We have the user guides and everything you'll need for being able to close out your grants. Okay. But here on the awards management, we have user guides. These are a bit longer, detailed guides. They're going to walk you through the process of all the things you need to do for, like I said, submitting your activity reports, reimbursement requests, any kind of thing like that. We have a user guide set up. It's going to kind of walk you through that process. We have quick reference sheets, quick setup too, so that if you just need a quick reference back to it, these are 10 pages. These are probably 2. Okay. It's just going to highlight the little points of things that you need to do. Or again, we still have these really great videos that are set up so that you can see, hear somebody walking you through the process of these steps for accepting your grants, submitting those activity reports. And these are short little minute or 2 long videos. They're not the hour-long training videos you might be used to. So lots of super resources right here, you guys, from managing your grant all the way from accepting it all the way to closing out your grant. So let's go ahead and actually even open up one of these user guides. And this is kind of what I recommend to y'all as you're going through doing this. And what's so nice about these user guides is right at first you have accepting or declining your award. Well, here's the email you're going to receive. And here's the important thing right here to click here, highlighting that so that you know what to do when you receive that email for setting up your grant. It's going to talk about how then you can accept the award, what that process is going to look like. Okay. So again, these are super because they give you these nice detailed explanations for everything, plus these cool screenshots. That's my favorite part about it, is that it's not just a big long note about something. It's actually screen captures showing you exactly the process as you're going through it. So awesome resource to have on that second monitor. If you got the one monitor blues, you can always print it out or create another tab, such as I've done here, so you can follow along with the process using that user guide to walk you through it. And you guys are going to find that it's as simple and easy as when you applied for these grants. Hopefully when you guys applied for these grants, you realized, hey, that eCivis portal isn't that bad. It's not quite that scary, you know. And you're going to find that as you're managing your grant, it's the same exact thing. Very intuitive, easy interface to follow along with. So let's keep that cool user guide right up here under our handy tabs and go back now into the grant opportunities itself, okay? This is where you guys came to apply for that grant, okay? But why I wanted to come back here and talk about this is Karen has done a wonderful job setting up, where are we here? Okay, here we go. She's done a wonderful job setting up resources for you guys, okay? Remember, if you need to get a hold of her group, if you're working on something and you say, oh, okay, I can't really remember how to submit a financial report, that's a question you want to shoot to us here at SBA. We can walk you through the process for how to submit that activity report. If your question is, do you need this particular information in that activity report? Do you need invoices in that activity report? That's a question you're going to want to ask Karen and her group, okay? And she's done a wonderful job walking you through all an overview of the grant itself to find out everything about it, and the contact information. So when you need to reach the agency, the grantor agency, here's where you can find their contact information, how you can reach out to those guys. Okay. So again, if you have specific questions about what to put into those activity reports, those are for the agency. If you can't remember how to get to those activity reports, or you can't remember, what to click on, then those are the kind of questions that we can assist you with. So, and always feel free to reach out to SBA and we can help direct those questions too as well. But what I really want to show here is, well, I'm gathering my resources to get through this process. I've got my user guide, right? This will help me get through the process about getting to there, what I need to do. And now look at this. Karen has these awesome files set up that are going to help you as examples for how you're going to do these activities, okay? So I'm going to keep coming back to this as we get through these different ones. So when we get to submitting these activity reports, here's a great example of what that activity report is going to look like. Hopefully you guys are pretty familiar with this, because these are the examples of some of the things like when you're filling out your profile or your budget that she used for setting up for how to submit your applications. But she's also got these examples for how to help you as you're doing the management of it, okay? When you're submitting financial reports, submitting activity reports. A lot of great resources right here, right on that SBA page for subrecipients, applicants, you guys, so you can utilize these for getting into this, okay? So you're probably wondering, how am I going to be notified? I don't know if you guys have been notified yet. How about these grants? Well, you've been accepted to them. See if I can find my email. Okay, you're going to receive an email from eCivis. The eCivis portal is going to have the actual award notification right here, the PDF, which is basically listing your awards, which is the information we have right here, about how much money you received and things of that nature, your performance periods, any notes from the grantor that they want you to know about will be included right here. But why I wanted to highlight this, and remember, this is really shown on that user guide, is that to accept your award, you still need to accept that. You need to click here, which is going to take us to the eCivis portal, which you guys are probably very familiar with now, hopefully, and finding very easy and intuitive to use, okay? But what's important about that, as the user guides have pointed out, accepting award, there we go. And see, and again, that's why I love these user guides, because look, this is the exact same email that that you're going to receive. It's not saying you're going to receive an email, click here. It's going to show you the exact email that you're going to receive, and then it's going to highlight that you need to still go to eCivis to accept your award, okay? So again, I can't stress how important it is to have those resources available to you as you're going through this, because it's going to walk you through the process one by one. So now we're at the eCivis portal. And you guys remember when I was talking about the restaurant, where the kitchen is the grants network, where they're preparing the food to give to you guys? The portal is the login that you're going to use as an applicant subrecipient, okay? So by logging into the eCivis portal, okay, I'm in a test environment, so it's a little funky the way that it did that. Okay, because what I want to do here, oh, again, I'm sorry, I forgot I was in the, I said, in this test environment. So I, under review, apologize here, is that I've already actually accepted the award for this one that I received, this email that I received. Tap water improvement. Okay, just wanted to make sure I was in the right area there for doing this. Okay, so this is the one that I've already been awarded for. Okay, so what I can do now is I can go into there and I'm going to start working on managing this award. And it's now under my awarded categories. So yeah, okay, I'm sorry, I got a little lost there. Apologize. Again, I forgot that I had actually haven't accepted this award. So again, the user guy is going to walk you through what you need to do. Typically, what's going to happen is going to take you to a little interface where it says, to accept the award. Click here, and that's what we did. And then it's going to give you an opportunity to either download or any upload files that you need with your award package. I apologize. I forgot that I already accepted that award during another training session. But what I want to talk about here is that we're working these things where we had our applications. And again, I'm in a testing environment, so there's a lot more here than what you guys are going to see. But we're looking at this David's tap water improvement. That's going to be my testing demonstration one that I've set up.
Okay, cool beans.
Mistakenly, I had already awarded myself too. But what it's going to do, it's going to move from the applications that I was working on to my awards. So simple and easy to find these things. Once your application has been awarded, it's going to move it to the My Awards area. And that's where you'll be able to find it here, along with these other ones that's in this test environment, so we can begin to start working on that. So let's dive right into it for this demo environment that we'll be working on for submitting these reports and stuff. And bingo, here we are. What's really, really nice about this is it should look super familiar to you guys, okay? When you're awarding these, when you're managing these awarded, they don't go to a different area of the eService portal. You're still in that same portal area that you're very familiar with, but now you have these activities that you can do up here, okay? You can view the budget of it, print that out. If there's any goals associated with the project you're working on, you can view those goals here. Any files that have been uploaded or downloaded are going to be housed right here themselves too, okay? Here's how you can submit financial reports, activity reports, request an amendment, close out
Very
your
cold for you.
project, even manage your project
Okay.
team right here, okay? And so it's the same interface that you're comfortable and easy and used to when doing your application. That's what makes it really nice when you get into your award dashboard here, okay? So the first thing I want to talk about is this thing over here on the far right for managing your project. Remember during the application portion of this, it was kind of a one-shot, and not a one-shot deal, but one person was controlling submitting the application, which makes sense. You don't want multiple people submitting it because you get one shot at submitting that application. But now we're on the awarded side of the stage. You can actually build a team over here on the awarded side. So you can invite people into this workspace right here for this tap water improvement project. That's the one that I'm using as a demonstration for you guys today. Okay, so now I can invite other team members into this to help me manage this project. Maybe you want somebody from program to do the activity reports, and you want somebody from finance to do the financial reports or things of that nature. You can build that team, and it's as simple and easy as clicking on Manage Project Team. And what this is going to do is create an interface where I can send an email to people and invite them into the team. And that's as simple and easy as it is. You just go to Add Team Member, and that's going to throw you an email address where you can now I can invite anybody that I want to join the team. They're going to receive an email and saying you're welcome to the eService portal. For this, they'll have to create an eService portal account to join the team. But again, there's no charge to you guys. You can create as many portal accounts as need be. There's no kickback to the state for a charge or anything of that nature, okay? So you will need an eService portal account, which is simple and easy to do, and that'll be in the email that's sent to the person that I'm inviting right here. If you need them to receive notifications for this word, maybe you have reminders set up for tasks that need to be done, but clicking on that adds them to that email thread so they can actually then receive emails about that too as well. So great way that you can utilize this so that you can build that team in this workspace to manage that award. And then as the team gets built, it'll be displayed down here. And then who is ever the director of this, whoever has been set in charge of that, will be able to then add or delete other people. So anyone can add people. The person in charge then can basically modify the team as need be. So great thing. It's really nice. Like I said, once you know then the awarded side of it, you can actually build a team to help you manage that. So let's go back to our award detail page, and that's what this is called here. And I'm going to walk you through that, and then we're going to go back and reference Karen's information about what they want to see in their activity reports and their financial reports. And we'll go ahead and submit a couple of those so I can show you guys exactly how easy it is to do that, okay? So walking you through the screen here again, we have our top buttons here are going to be used for any of the activities that we need to do as we're managing this, okay? And what's really nice is then they've set up these pending tasks. So you can see right here the things that you need to do, okay? So for this award, for this grant, it looks like that they're going to need an activity report and a financial report about every 2 months, okay? So they've set up this reminder, helpful reminders to walk you through the process of when you need to submit these tasks, okay? So that will keep you on track for what you need to do. And what's really, really nice about it is once I complete one of these, it's going to kick it down here to my award activity. So as we work together today and submit a financial report and activity report, once we submit those over to the granting agency, you'll see that they're going to pop up down here and give us a status of that. whether it's been submitted and approved, submitted, approved, and paid. Any of the statuses that go along with that will be listed down here so that anyone in this work environment, remember how we built a team here now in this work environment? Anyone in the work environment will be able to see the status of what's going on. So when I submit this financial report, anyone else in the team can see, yes, it's been submitted. It looks like it's under review. And then they come back to it the next day. It's like, oh, wow, look, cool. The financial report has been approved and is waiting payment. Okay. So they can actually see exactly what's going on with the status of your grant as you're managing it without having to email Tom and say, hey, did you submit that financial report? Do we ever get back on that? Oh, hey, Sally, did you get that activity report sent in? It creates this wonderful working environment where everybody can keep track of what's going on. So the granting agency is going to set up a schedule for what you need to do these things. The eService portal is going to keep track of that and the status of those as you're going through doing all those activities that are required from you. Even amendments, when you submit amendments, and if you guys want, we can even do an amendment today. Simple and easy to do this. They're going to keep track of those amendments down here too, and the status of those amendments too as well. So if the amendment needs requested change, maybe that they want to have some dialogue back and forth about the amendment, saying, hey, I'd like a 3-month extension. And then the group says, well, how about a 2-month extension? You can actually have that status back and forth. And it's all going to be saved right here so you can see exactly what's going on throughout the management of your grant. So let's take a look then at the going back to, here we are, submitting an activity report. What's required from that? So again, right back to that resources for subrecipients page on the SBA website. Let me go back to here just to show you guys exactly how to get there. Remember, SBA, resources for subrecipients, is under grants management. So in grants management, you want to open that up. Resources for subrecipient, we're right here, right to our grant opportunities. It's the one you guys are working on right here, the IoT grant. And then it's our files associated with that. So I'm going to throw that up on my toolbar up here, or with these tabs. So as we're going through this activity report, let's see exactly what Karen wants, okay? So by opening up the activity report, again, I can't stress how great these are. These are, with the resources we have, the user guides to walk you through how to get to the eService portal, how to navigate it, and then the examples of the activity reports that are needed in that. You guys should have no problem with this. The IoT group has done a wonderful job setting this up. And look, awesome screenshots. They're going to walk you through this process for how to do this, okay? So we're going to be selecting our time period where we're going to be reporting from. And then we have our report narrative. So this is nice because now here we want to provide a summary that includes the description of the progress made during this period. Please state which databases were improved and include details of the improvement, okay? So now we know exactly what we want to add to our project narrative here, okay? We want to give a good description of any progress that we've made during that time period, okay? And then see, there's even the area for goals that are down here, okay? And the C grant at this time will not have anything in this section, okay? And so now you know that there's nothing you need to do part of that. It's important to upload the VEP reports, okay? I'm not sure what those are, but again, if you don't know, ask Karen. If you don't know how to get to this page, you can ask me, okay? And here are these activity reports, and then you can upload from this. So progress from vendors, any other relative information demonstrating the progress during this period. Maybe you have invoices from people. Maybe you have other reports that are any other documentation that you need to verify that. So with Karen's wonderful example of knowing what we need to put into our narrative, what we need to upload, and that there's no goals associated with this grant, we know now how we can dive into this and take care of this. So let's go back to our portal. Sorry, I have a lot of tabs open there. The first one we're going to do is our activity report. Okay, that's due on the 1st of the year for 2025. So what we want to do now is go ahead and take care of this, okay? What I can do is I can actually submit an activity report up here if it's in if the granting agency hasn't set up my pending task for me. Some do, some don't. Or if I need to submit one outside of a range that's set up, I can always submit that activity report that way. But the easiest way to do it, and what's nice about this, because if I'm using this function here, this pending task, it'll actually remove it from here. so that I don't need to worry about getting reminders about you need to take care of that task, and it'll show it being completed. And then once I'm done with it, it'll move it down here. So we can go to the pancake, hamburger. I always want to do a vote to find out which one people like best, to be honest with you. I'm kind of a hamburger guy myself. So by clicking on that, will take us to create the report, or if you've already done that and you need to get rid of this, you can always go to mark task completed, and that's going to remove that from that. But the easiest thing to do is just go to create activity report, and it's going to take us to that screen cap, or that page that Karen, see, here it is, that showed exactly in her help file about how to get here. So this is going to give you a rundown of where you are, what project you're working with, the amount that you've got, and the performance period for that whole project, okay? So the reporting period is a required field. We need to fill that out. And remember, this is the one that was due January 1st. So we're going to cover everything we've done from December 1st to December 31st and hit apply. And that's going to grab that time frame, the reporting period, so that Karen knows which area you're reporting at, okay? And here in the narrative, remember, this is where we're going to put in any information that's going to show the progress that we've made right now. And so this is where you can use that narrative to describe everything that you've accomplished during this time period, whether that was working with different vendors to collect the information of the software and things that you need to do, whatever it is that you need to do that you have accomplished during this time frame. We're going to add that right here to the project narrative, okay? I do have one set up for goals right now, just as a demonstration, but remember, and that's why it's so awesome to have these screen captures, which just appeared on me. Apologize. These screen captures, which Karen set up, meaning that there weren't any goals associated with this project. So at this time, you guys won't have to worry about the goal portion of it, but if there were goals associated with it, that's where you report on your goals, is during the activity reports, okay? Now, she didn't mention any of those files that we need to upload, okay? These are the things that documentation about to help support your narrative. Maybe in your narrative, you talked about, how many different people that you've brought on board, or how, what software you've collected to work on this project, or things of that nature, and quotes you might have gotten from other vendors about different software, about different things you might be utilizing. Here's where we can upload those files. And I'm sure you guys are very familiar and comfortable with this, where you simply click on upload file and then select which files you need to upload. And it'll quickly, easily throw it into that. And then it'll tell you exactly what you're uploading, okay? So we've got our time period that we're reporting from registered for what we want to do. We have our detailed narrative explaining anything that's required from us. In this case, it's going to be progress that we made along the way. So we have all that information right there. There's no goals associated with this one, so you don't have to worry about goals at this time. Any files that are going to support that narrative, support why we've described the progress that we've made, and we want to have that documentation. So you can upload those. You can always save this and then come back to it. And if you're wondering, I need to collect those files from some other people, they're not part of the team yet or anything like that, you can always save this, and it'll be saved as a draft. So you can come back to it, complete it. But if you're happy with it, you can go ahead and click submit report. Are you sure you want to click this report? It's gone to the grantor for approval. Yeah, absolutely. We feel really good about it. So we'll say, okay. So, and simple and easy, guys, that's how it is to submit these activity reports. And financial reports are basically the same, okay? So what's great about this now is you see that activity report for January is no longer on my pending task. It's pulled that off of my pending tasks. That's why it's good to go to these actions here to create to submit your reports, as opposed to going to up here to submit these reports. Because if you use these functionalities, it's simple and easy. It's the same exact process, but it won't pull it off of your pending tasks that are due, okay? So if you forget and you submit your activity report from up here and it's still there, don't stress, it's fine. You can always click on that and mark that task as completed. But what it will do, and this is what I love, is it's going to throw it down here under my award activities, okay? Because remember, you yourself, it's hard to keep track of these grants sometimes as they get bigger and bigger. But now that you have a team, And people want to know, where do we stand on this, as opposed to having to call Flora or Richard and say, did you submit that activity report? I know it's due January 1st. The holidays are coming up. You can say, yes, that was submitted on 12/12. It's pending approval right now. And if you need to view that report, you need to send it to, well, can you give me a copy of it? Sure, no problem. Click on view report. It's going to actually bring up the actual report that you guys did here in a second, so that you can share that with any of your team members. So it takes us right back to that report. Remember, here it is that we sent out to everybody. It lists the exact same file that was sent. So now anybody on the team members can actually see and easily take care of this, okay? So going back to the award now. So, and that's why I love this work interface that gets created. Like I said, it's a great workspace for you to be able to now manage these things, okay? So we have our activity report submitted. It's telling us exactly the status of all this. And this status is going to change pending approval. So when Karen gets this report, she might say, oh, that's awesome. Great. Everything I needed right there. So this will be changed to approved. If Karen finds something on the report that she's not clear about, or she needs some more information, maybe you didn't upload any of those documents, she can request change, okay? And so you're going to get an email saying that, there's a request change being made about your activity report. So you can go back to here, open it up, the email and the report will list what the grantor wants to know. Maybe the grantor says, can you please upload those invoices you talked about in your narrative? Sure. So you just upload those and then send it back. So this is going to keep track of any dialogue back and forth. It's going to keep track of your status, whether it's been approved or whether it's pending approval, all right here on your activity page. So that anyone on your team can see the status of where you are and what's going on with that. Simple and easy, isn't it? Yeah, it's really nice. And again, what I really like about this is you never leave this interface. So when you come back into it, if you're working on your awards, you just go to My Awards, and then whichever one you're working on, simple and easy to find. So the next thing on our pending task list is a financial report. So let's go ahead and see what we need to do for financial reports. But before we do that, right, let's go back to here we are. This is that resources for subrecipient, the prime rib of that Christmas dinner is right here. And again, I love this because the user guides are going to walk you through. See, look how these user guides, whoa, that was quick. Look how these user guides are set up. So you see exactly these screen captures of everything that you're going to see, the stuff I've been talking about, excuse me, right here on this user guide, walk you through the whole process of how to get to submitting this financial report. They're wonderful for that. And then we have the resources right here for the examples of what needs to go into that financial report. How are we going to fill that out? So between the SBA resources to get you to how to submit these reports, the functionality for doing that, where do you click to be able to do that? And then Karen's awesome one set up here to show exactly how to fill out the financial report that we're going to be submitting. We've got you covered. So we have the resources to get you there. Karen's developed the resources for what you need to put into the report when you're sending it off. So by utilizing those two different resources, I feel very confident you guys will find this really easy to use, okay? So as she mentions here, this is an overview that we're going to see here. And these are the different categories then that we can use to fill this out. There's no need for a match, which is nice on this one, so you don't have to worry about that. But it's going to show you the categories that won't be grayed out. Mine is going to be a little bit different because I'm in a demo environment. I apologize. But it's very, very similar to what she has going on here. And then she even has highlighted and put in big red, which is really important, to click the reimbursement request, okay? So if you want to get that money back, you're not just reporting on the money that was spent. You want your money back. You want your reimbursement for that money that you spent. It's really, really important to click on that reimbursement request, okay? Then there's going to be that narrative, which you guys remember seeing on the activity side. The financial side has that too as well. So you can give explanation about why you've added these different numbers that you're asking for that reimbursement request from that. And then also any files that you need to upload that. So please be sure to upload invoices, proof of payment for contractual expenses. So if you've made those payments to people and you need that reimbursement from that, here's how you upload those files to be able to do that. But do you guys see how these activity reports and financial reports are very similar with the same functionalities? So once you get comfortable with them, whether it's activity or finances, it's the same kind of interface you're going to be going through, and it should come to you very easily. Okay. So again, I can't stress enough how great it is to have this on that second tab, second monitor, print it out, whatever you need as you're going through here. Her group did a wonderful, Karen probably did it herself, did an actual wonderful, wonderful job putting these resources together for everybody. So let's actually then submit one, see what's going to happen. Okay, I bet you guys are pretty comfortable knowing what's going to happen as we go through here. Okay, again, I can submit the financial report by going to here. It's going to take me to the same exact place, but I really recommend that if the granting agency has set up these pending tasks, that you follow those pending tasks so that anyone in your group can see what's been accomplished easily. And then also, if no matter which route you go, it's going to kick it down here into your awards activities so we can monitor the process as we're going along. So let's submit a financial report. You guys remember how to do that? You go to the hamburger, and by clicking on that, I can create my financial report. And this is one, remember, is going to be due on the 1st. So we'll use the same time frame of all of December to report that. So click financial report. Excuse me. And it just takes a minute and it'll load up here, and then we'll walk through the process of how to submit this financial report, which again is very, very similar to the activity reports that we've submitted. So you should feel very comfortable with it. Great. What's nice about this is here's my financial overview. Okay. Pretty straightforward and easy right now because I haven't submitted one yet. But as you get going through, as you're going through managing your award, okay, you're going to be submitting more and more of these, and you want to know where are we at of the process. So this keeps a running tab of what you have submitted. Okay. So if something has been submitted, it hasn't been approved yet, it's still going to be listing you've submitted that. That way you won't double submit things of that nature. But remember, you can always go back and see where your approval statuses are of any of your activity awards or your financial award or financial reports back on that awards management page there. So here is the rundown of what's remaining to date. What have I asked for? Payments received? Nothing. This is my first financial report that I'm going to be submitting. So as soon as I go to submit a financial report, it gives me a breakdown to see exactly what's been done. What have I done yet? Okay. Whether it's pending, approved, or anything like that, it's going to give you guys a report of what you've done. So again, that way you know that reports have been made, how much money is left, how much has been spent to date, okay? Because right now we still have that 2750 full remaining amount because we haven't received any reimbursement request yet, okay? So let's do that. Let's look at what we need to do to submit these reimbursement requests. So if you're here, we're going to choose our reporting period, and this again is going to be December 1st to the 31st, okay? Because this is the one that's due on the 1st. And now this is where I can put in the information for whatever I'm requesting back, okay? Now, before, remember when you did the application, you had multiple lines that you could choose from and stuff like that. Here you're going to be putting in the full amount for that. So maybe for personnel for this time period, we'll say there was $250 in personnel that was spent for that. The equipment was maybe $300 worth of equipment we've done for that. Their supplies were another $100 for that. And what's nice about this too, guys, as you see, is it's totaling everything for me. I don't have to do the math or anything of that nature, okay? And then it's going to actually pull it from here too as well. So remember I talked about that, and actually these haven't been approved yet, but it's already telling me what I've spent to date, which is great because you don't want to do it one day and then wait for it approval before it subtracts it from here so you double up on stuff. It's going to tell you right away what you're requesting. So that's the best way to look at this, is that whether it's been paid or not, this is what you've already requested from doing this. Okay. So we have these amounts that we're putting in for it. The $650 is what we're going to ask for a reimbursement from that. And as Karen showed on her screen here, make sure you click that reimbursement request, okay? And it's going to pull down the total from everything you're asking for that you've spent for that. If it happens to be different, you can actually change this number. If 150 of it you don't want back for some reason, you can actually change that number, but it's going to by default pull any of the information you have from here, okay? But what's important about it, as Karen had mentioned, so like equipment, we're asking for $300. Well, here's that cool project narrative. Here's where we can put in the information about why, if I spell it right, why you spent $300. Maybe there was $300 worth of software that you had to purchase for this. Maybe for the personnel, there was $250 that you paid an outside contractor to do something. Any of the information that you need to explain to Karen and her group, because remember, they're going to approve this. So the more information you give them for why that you're asking for this reimbursement is key. So any of the information here, why did you put 250? Why did you put 100? You can give a narrative for that, explaining to them exactly why that number is what it is, why you're asking for $300 in equipment. You can list the equipment that you guys had purchased. And then have a detailed narrative explaining that. And then remember, here's that upload file. So maybe this is where you want to have those invoices for that $300 worth of software. You have those receipts for that so that you can grab that and then throw that into here. Okay, I'm sorry. I chose a file there that it didn't want to grab for me. So here we go. Then now what I can do is I can have a Word document, in this case, explaining with all my receipts or things like that. You need to throw an Excel document into there. You can always grab an Excel document. Oops. And this is going to be used then to give you a breakdown of all those, the money that was spent for the equipment or the personnel, okay? Any supporting documentation, those invoices, you want to upload those invoices. Maybe you make a PDF of all those invoices and upload those invoices explaining all that. Simply and easily, just by clicking on upload files. So we have the actual number that we're asking for, the $650. We have a check for reimbursement, meaning we need that money back. We'd like to be reimbursed for that money. We have our narrative explaining exactly why we're asking for that $650. We have our invoices, our billings, anything that's going to explain and justify why we want that $650. I mean, is that you said you spent $300 on supplies. Well, or excuse me, $100 on supplies. Well, here you can upload those receipts for $100 worth of things that you bought for that, proving why you've spent that money. Again, I can always save this so that I can confer with other team members or have them come into the workspace and look at it so they can do whatever they need to do with it. Or I can submit that report. So we're happy with it. So let's go ahead and submit that report. It's going to warn you by submitting this report, you're to the best of my knowledge, everything is true. So you say, okay. And it's as simple and easy as that, you guys, as submitting your financial report. So then once that's done, you could probably guess what it's going to do, okay? It's going to take us right back to our Word dashboard screen that we're very comfortable and familiar with using right now. It's going to remove that pending task. Remember, these tasks were due January 1st. We've completed these tasks. We no longer have to worry about that. Anyone who comes to the team area now, anyone who's working in our workspace environment can see that there's nothing due until March. Those January ones have already been taken care of. How do you know that? Because here they are listed under our award activities, okay? And that they're pending approval. So now I know exactly who sent the financial report, who sent the activity report, when they sent those reports, the status of those reports. If I need to review those, if I want to take a look at it and say, okay, well, I'm going to do March. What did Dave ask for back in January on that financial report? I can click on View Report, and it'll take me right back to that report so that I can see exactly what's been reported on that, how much was asked for, how did I format it, what invoices did I upload, things of that nature. So now anyone in my work team here can actually take care of all those things for me. And again, it's set up so that you can have that team environment right here in this workspace so that you no longer need to ask somebody, hey, did you submit that? Can you give me a copy of that? Just invite them to your workspace, and everybody will have access to do this. Okay. One thing to let you all know is that everyone shares the same access in the workspace environment. Okay. eCivis is working on some roles for future development of this area, but currently anyone has the same access. So um, if you want, say, maybe Richard to take care of submitting financial reports, that would be a business rule that you would just set up. Say, okay, Richard's in charge of financial reports. Anyone can come here and see what's going on, and actually anyone can submit it. So if you do need to have any kind of role-based privileges or access, those will have to be managed by your group. Okay, eService is working on setting up some role-based management, but that'll be a future iteration coming from those guys. So right now, anyone can be invited to the workspace. They can share those duties that need to be taken care of. Okay. The person who's overseeing the workspace is the one who can actually then delete people out of there if they need to, if need be. Maybe somebody left the team, moved to a different agency or a different division or somewhere else. Simple and easily as by going to manage my project team, it's going to list the team members. And if you're the owner of the workspace, which the granting agency is the person who sets up the owner of the agency, they can manage that team easily by, okay, I need to remove Tom. He's no longer with the company. They can delete them. So if you guys ever need to change ownership, that'd be a question that you can submit to us at SBA, and we'll work with Karen and her group. Or Karen has the ability to set up the owners of these workspaces. That has actually came up where somebody was the owner of the workspace, the president of the company, and ended up leaving, going to a different company. So we can adjust who the owner of the workspace is simply and easily. It's a functionality done by the granting agency. So if that does come up, please get a hold of Karen and her group, and we'll work with her, and we can transfer ownership to somebody else in your guys's in your agency. So that's as simple and easy it is, you guys, to submit these financial reports, submit these activity reports. Okay. I forgot one thing is that hopefully it might let me do this, is that let's do a request grant amendment. Okay, because I want to show you how simple and easy that is. Okay. So when I'm doing a grant amendment, okay, it's going to bring me right to my awards detail page where it's going to list the organization that I am, that's SBA, the project, so you know exactly which one it is. The EIN number I can add to this. It's not a required field. Not everyone has one, but if I need to, I can do that. And this is the performance period of this grant itself. So this is how you know that you're in the right project when you're submitting this amendment. So then here I can just click on continue. Okay, that's what I was afraid of. Yeah, is that if there was a financial change involved, remember I submitted a financial report and it hasn't been approved yet. If you submit a financial report and it hasn't been approved yet, you cannot submit a financial amendment, of course, because the finances aren't locked down at that point in time. Okay, so for this one, I won't be able to submit a financial report because I haven't approved that one yet. Tell you what I can do actually is that let's cancel this. I believe I've got one set up where I could actually submit an amendment that I haven't submitted a financial report on yet. I apologize. I do a lot of these training programs, so I ended up getting a lot of different ones. Yeah, and so again, as I'm managing these projects, even if I say this and I want to go back and find it, I can always go to my awards, and it's going to list all the different projects that I have here that are set up for me to manage. Okay. So I believe this is the one, my test application, that I don't have any financial reports set up for, or pending financial reports. So I can show you guys exactly how to do an amendment even if it has a financial report involved. And activity awards. Okay, my financial reports have been approved. Okay, here's a nice example, and this is kind of nice. Oh shoot, I got a pending approval on amendment. So it won't let me do that either. Yeah, I apologize. Shoot. Okay. But again, what's kind of nice about this is it does show you here the statuses of these different things. So as I mentioned about, it'll show you the statuses that are happening, and it'll keep you abreast of that. So let's go back to the awards. And so maybe this one, let me check real quick. If not, I'll just have to show you how to submit a financial report without an amendment. I apologize. Oh boy, I got a bunch of pending ones on that one. This is the one I used actually. I apologize for showing an example. So while I'm here, I can show you the different statuses of these financial reports. As you could have waiting for approval, approval paid, which is really nice, or approval awaiting payment. Okay. And so again, this is just an example showing you how these reports can be how easy it is to keep track of these reports as you're going through here. It's going to give you a running thing of your awards. Okay, so I apologize. Let's go back to our tap water one that we're working on right now, and I'll show you how to do an amendment for this. Does anybody have any questions so far as we're going through here? I probably should have taken a breath at one point and asked if anybody had any questions. Let me check the chat real quick. Okay, great. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Okay, so here we are back in our tap water improvement, the one that we're actually using as a demonstration for today. And we want to submit an award amendment, okay? And so easy to do that. Request grant amendment, right here, request grant amendment. It's going to pull up and have us kind of verify the details to make sure, as maybe as you're managing multiple grants, they want to verify that this is a grant that we're actually talking about, that we're working with. So by hitting continue here, is that unfortunately, like I said, I can't make a financial change because I have a pending financial report. Okay. So actually, I did that on purpose, to be honest with you guys, because I want to show you that if you have to have a pending financial report, you won't be able to submit a financial amendment, okay, until that's been cleared out of there. Okay. So here I could just say, okay, continue. And so now it can allow me to change any maybe goals associated with that. I can change those goals that I'm working with and things of that nature. Okay, we're not really using goals in this point, so I don't have to worry about that. So I can hit continue. And so now maybe we're going to say that we want a contract extension. Okay, something that again isn't financial. If it was financial, you know exactly what it's going to do. It was going to bring up the budget, where you just simply put in there an extra money that you're asking for. Again, I apologize about that, you guys. I completely forgot that I wouldn't be able to do that otherwise. When I submitted that financial report. But here in the amendment, we can say, you know, any information about please extend performance period by 2 weeks. Okay, so now, oops. So now what we can do is we have the information that we're asking for. We're asking, you know, can you please extend this by 2 weeks? That there's things that we want to take care of, and that's why we need this 2 weeks. So here we can actually then attach upload any files with that. So maybe that one of our vendors needs an extra 2 weeks to get something accomplished, and we're not going to be able to do in this time frame. So we need to extend it by 2 weeks. Okay, and then we can have that upload file, so we can grab that file from the vendor who sent it to us saying, hey, look, I need an extra 2 weeks to be able to take care of this project. I apologize, but you know, I'm really busy or whatnot. And so now we can upload that file, that documentation about why we're asking for those 2 weeks, because we received notice that we needed that. We can explain that fully here in the amendment narrative, explaining that, hey, the vendor needs an extra 2 weeks to get this accomplished. Can we please extend this time period for 2 weeks from that? And then I can always save that and come back to it, and my group can. Or I can say submit amendment. And this is where you can add a note, and it'll be sent to the agency. So maybe you could say this was completed by David Schilling. So if Karen has a question about the amendment and wants to know who in the group that we're now using to manage this, who do I get a hold to speak to about the amendment? She'll know exactly who to speak to. She'll know exactly who to get a hold of for that. So by hitting save is going to actually submit that amendment. It's been successfully submitted. And what's nice about this is that now as we go through here and we see our pending tasks, those are still the same. We have our activity reports that have been submitted, the financial ones and the activity ones that are pending approval. So I got to remember to approve that before I do my next demonstration. Then here's that amendment, okay? And that amendment is pending approval, okay? Sometimes with these amendments, you can get a little back and forth going on. So if Karen receives that and says, I can't give you 2 weeks, but I can give you 10 days, calendar days, or maybe I can give you one more business week. She can send it back to you to see if you want if that works for you. And that'll be requesting change. You'll see as the status. You'll receive an email saying the grantor has requested your input on that. Okay, so you receive an email explaining exactly why Karen sent it back to you. You'll have the actual amendment right here that you can then go. And right now the action is just view amendment. Here it would be actually for you to edit the amendment so you can make those changes and then submit it back to Karen. If Karen's comfortable with it, she says, yes, that sounds good. I'll approve it. Comes back, you'll get an email saying it's been approved. Congratulations. Or she says, I can give you the 2 weeks plus an extra $100. Whatever dialogue goes back and forth, that's where you guys can have this right here. And it's going to track all that for you guys too as well. So again, it's that one-stop workspace that's so nice about this eCivis portal as you're managing your grant, as you're going through and submitting these reports and doing whatever you need to do that's required for you to properly execute these grants. All right here is simple and easy for you to work with, okay? Uh, all right. Is there any questions, you guys, about the interface itself? Maybe any of the activities that you need to do from here, whether it's submitting financial reports or any of that stuff. Is there anything that I can show you guys or you have questions about this time? Okay, so is the question, Karen, can you provide an overview to the seed grant application for download, see when they accept an award? For the only action, sign this. Karen, do you want to address this question?
Yeah, Steve, just let me make sure that I understand what you're asking. So that first screen that you open when when you accept the award, it opens up and you go to the My Awards section of your eCivis portal. And the first screen that you see is the screen that shows where you can download the documents that were included in the award package. And so those documents are going to be the award notification letter. You're going to have a copy of the revised NOFO document, the minimum GIS data requirements that are new since the revision to the NOFO document, and a template grant agreement contract. And those will all be accessible for you to download and save for your future reference. Does that answer your question?
So then the applicant would sign that grant template document?
Oh, no. Okay, so let me go through the process for that. So the grant template document, I've included it for reference just because I wanted the subrecipient to be able to see what the contract looks like. And that way, if they have any pre-approvals or if they want to pass it along to someone else to be able to take a look at it before it actually goes out for signature, then they have that availability. It will be updated and it'll have the subrecipient's name as one of the contract parties, and then it will also have the term of the contract, the award amount, and everything specific to that individual award once that actually gets finalized. So the process with that is once the award's accepted, then I'll initiate through IoT's procurement and contracts group a workflow that will create that document officially. The IoT fiscal contracts and procurement group will send that directly to the county for signature by the party that is allowed to sign that document. So you'll work directly with IoT's fiscal group to do that. They use a secure DocuSign program to get those signatures. And then once that agreement comes back signed, it goes through another 4 steps of approvals through various agencies. It has to be approved by the agency, by SBA, by IDOA, and by the Attorney General's office. And then once all the approvals are accepted, then are obtained, that's the correct word, then that is when the document is fully executed and approved.
So basically, at this point, just on the award, as far as eCivis, it's an opportunity to review the documents, download and review the documents. But as far as the award is concerned, it'll show as awarded on the My Awards if we just go through the process that's been described. And then the applicant at some point will receive the document that you're talking about, then the one that is filled out, and then start that process to get that
Yes.
finally signed. Okay.
Right. Yep. And then once that contract's executed, that's when the performance period will start, and you'll be able to start the work on the grant project.
All right. If we're adding a team member, will that happen then after we go through this process and the award shows up in the eCivis grant? Would it then be a separate process then to add a team member subsequent to that?
I believe so. David, could you help with that one?
Once you're brought into the award dashboard, once it's actually been awarded by Karen's group, because here under awards, when you see it as awarded, because once you submit back that email, basically saying that you want to accept this award, it'll be listed as pending awarded at that time, where you won't be able to do anything with it because it's still pending. Then you'll actually receive an email. So you'll receive the application award notification. That would be the one where you'll open that and you'll click on the here, and that's going to actually then, as Karen mentioned, walk you through an interface saying, okay, download anything that Karen needs you to sign or do, upload that, and then that's going to move that to pending to award. And then once it's actually then been awarded, you'll receive an email that looks just like this that says, congratulations, you've been received this award, any information from the grantor that they want you to know. And then that's going to actually then move this. So when you're into the eCivis awarded area here, it no longer say pending award. I apologize. I should have had one in that area. It'll say awarded. And now you can actually create that where you can add a team member. Now it's going to open up this award dashboard where you can manage your team. And that's where now you can actually manage your award. So as soon as you get that notification saying that it's been officially awarded to you, you've done your portion, Karen and her group have approved that. Now you can actually go into here and actually start managing your team.
So Karen, when it goes to pending, would the final award happen then after that final signature of the actual contract with the state, or prior to that?
So you can't do any work on the contract until the performance period begins, and that contract document's going to have a performance period that's going to allow for time for that contract to actually become executed. And you'll also see that in the award notification letter. You'll see that the performance period doesn't actually start for about 3 months after the award recommendation letter has been sent out. So that allows for that time for that contract to become executed.
So it gets executed, and then you send out the confirmation that, so the county signed it, they send it to the state makes final signatures, and then the GAO officer or somebody will send an email out saying that this has been executed. This is your now beginning performance date. So if we're adding a team member, do we wait then till we get to that point before we add a team member?
I think I'm glad that you asked this, Steve, because we haven't been through this process. So it does pose the question of, do we leave that in pending until the contract's executed? I'm leaning that way, that we would just leave that in pending, so you wouldn't actually receive this final award notification letter. Or this isn't the final one, is it?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
So this is the initial one, but you wouldn't receive the final award notification until actually you actually have that contract in place.
Okay. We just want to know what the plan is. So that's good.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking that.
Great questions, you guys.
Yeah.
I have an
Absolutely.
additional question in regards to the eCivis portal.
Mm-hmm.
We had an applicant the other day who asked this question, and I'm not sure if it was an overlook on our site, but I did not see it. Is there a place where we can actually print off a copy of their application that they submitted? They like to keep a paper trail on hand as well, and I didn't see anywhere, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so the actual applications itself, has it been awarded yet, or is it under review or pending, or?
This submitted yesterday.
Okay, so it's probably then, I'd imagine, under review, meaning it's been sent over to Karen and her group.
Mhm.
Okay, let's see here. So we go into any of these ones that are under review. Here's a test solicitation project. Into it. Again, you're in the portal. So here, I can log into the portal. And here is the one that that has been submitted for the office hours. Okay, so if it's under review, okay, yeah, unfortunately, yeah, during the oh yeah, here we go. Here it was under review. You can click on that and go to the application itself and click view. And here's going to bring up then the actual application that was submitted for that. So what you can do is by clicking on this little arrow right here next to the application button, print form, and that's going to bring up an interface where now I can actually save that as a PDF document. I can shoot that out to a printer whenever need be. So that's how you can actually submit the application that's been submitted to them. Like I said, that's the easiest way of doing it when it's under review like that. If it's once or it's been awarded, you could always invite them to the workspace or something like that. But they don't do a very good job of having a little print button there.
Yeah,
And actually, it
yeah.
took me a minute or two to figure out that that's what that was for. I kind of researched this the other day. So ironically, you asked this question this time. But yeah, you can always go back in. Now, as remember when I was here, maybe if I hit back, it'll show me. I won't be able to edit that, of course, because I've already submitted it. So I no longer have the edit button because this has been submitted. But if they just submitted it the other day and they're like, hey, we want to keep a paper copy of that, or I want to keep a PDF document that I want to send to somebody outside because, again, it's not been awarded yet. So you can't invite people into your workspace. I don't have access to my award dashboard yet. So by simply clicking on view, and I can do the same thing with a budget too as well. So if you need the actual budget for David's test solicitation, you can always then go to that and go to the action for that. And then you can actually print the budget for that too as well. So by simply clicking on view, will bring up the way that you can view it. And the easiest way to print it is just by simply clicking on that next to it in print form. And that'll bring up the ability to go ahead and either print it or save it as a PDF, whatever you need to do.
Perfect.
Great
Thank
question.
you.
Great question. Any other questions, you guys, about the interface while we're here? So what's really nice about it is that you guys are probably very comfortable with it because remember when you were submitting your application, and again, this is a test environment, so don't let all these rows here scare you. You're going to have one or two possibly, no matter how many you've submitted, it'll collect them right here. So again, a test environment looks kind of clumsy. So I apologize for you guys seeing all this, but you should be very familiar with as you're working on your applications, even when they get awarded, they stay here too as well. But as you're working on there, if they're under review, closed, any of the status is pending. I don't think I have any pending right now. You can always find them here. And then my awards are once you've been awarded that contract, it's either going to be awarded, pending reward, or closed out. They're all going to be right here. And then there's your eCivis profile. So if you ever need to update that, this is for eCivis to know exactly who you are. Okay. So simple, easy interface, not very complicated at all. Applications, awards, simple and easy to manage. And I said, what I really like about the awarded one is the way that you don't go into some kind of a different dashboard. You stay right here in your same dashboard, but now you have those tools that you can utilize for managing your team. You've got the activity award activities that are going to be shown here for what you've already accomplished for going through that. So simple, easy interface to use. And between these resources for subrecipients where you can go to award management, everything I talked about today is right here in that user guide. Okay. So you can reference that, have that up here as we're going through the process, or you can utilize these quick reference sheets, which are simple. Like I said, quick, easy 1 or 2 page things. They're going to walk you through the process for how you can actually do that, but in a short, quick, easy form. There they are. So I'll say this is like 1, 2 pages. It's going to walk you through there's the email itself for how to accept and deny those awards. These are great for responding back to you once you already feel a little more comfortable with it, or you can always watch the training videos for that. So between the SBA resources that are going to guide you through how to get there, what buttons do you click on, all the way from applying through closing out, then the resources that Karen's given us here for examples of how to submit activity reports, how to submit that financial report. You guys should find that there's plenty of resources to walk you through the process, whether it's getting there to figure out how do you get to the question, how do you answer the question, what information do you need to put into the question. These resources should walk you through that whole process simply and easily. You always, though, can go to the contact information for question for Karen and her group. This is where you can submit those questions. You get that contact information about how do you get a hold of that agency about specifics. Okay, remember in the project narrative, you know, I'm not quite sure what you need in that project narrative. Definitely a question to ask for Karen. Okay, if you can't remember how to get to the interface to get to the project narrative, that's a great question to shoot to us, non-state employees. Remember, go to the menu up here, grants management, contact or grants management team. You can shoot me an email saying, Dave, can you show me again how to get to the award dashboard? Okay, simple and easy, can help you out through that. So between our contact information and Karen's contact information for how you can find these any questions about anything that you need to know about that, simply that contact information there. You guys should feel very comfortable that no matter what you stumble upon, somebody's going to be there to help you. Okay. And if you ever need any further one-on-one demonstrations about this or something of that nature, you can simply and easily shoot us a question. And also you can also attend those grant management workshops. Is it non-state employees, right? We got one coming up just here on January 16th. That's kind of going to be what we just went through today. Hopefully it won't be quite as clumsy, I apologize, about how you can submit those reimbursement requests and things of that nature. So we have another one set up for you guys already in place. So you can kind of get another overview of what we went through today. Okay, check and see if there's any. Go ahead,
could I add a few things to the end here?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, please.
Okay, great. So, Carolyn, I responded to your question in the chat. So all of the recordings that we've done for all of the SBA trainings and the original webinar are posted to the Data Harvest Grant Program webpage. I put the link in the chat so you can rewatch any of these videos if you'd like to do that at your convenience. The other thing that I wanted to share is I sent out an email to all of the counties that have already applied to the grant to notify them of the changes to the NOFO document. And I just wanted to review those briefly with this group so that you're aware of where to look for what was revised and just to provide answer any questions you may have on the revisions. So, David, could I share my screen?
Sure, absolutely. I was going to say, if you want, yeah, Karen, I'll stop sharing and you can take control.
Okay, so is everyone seeing that okay?
I can on my side.
Okay, perfect. So what I have on the left-hand side of the screen is the NOFO document, and I want to point your attention to the section 12, which is new to the original document, and it lists a revision history of anything that changed from the original document that was posted when we published the solicitation to the revisions that were done on December 5th. So as you're going through the document, you don't have to try to, have two people read it or compare what changed, what didn't change. I've summarized all of the revisions in this section so that you can easily go and look and say, okay, so I need to look at section 3 because there's been a revision to the performance period. And it tells you what it was changed from and then what it was changed to. And so hopefully this will make looking at those revisions or finding those revisions easier. It'll point you directly to where to look for those. So I wanted to bring attention to that. The revisions themselves generally revolved around the performance period start date. When we originally drafted the NOFO document, we had added that the performance period would start from the date of award. Well, as we were going through the original initial award period, that kind of made some ripples with our contracts group, because we don't want anyone working on a document until there's a contract in place, or working on a project until a contract's in place. So one of the revisions that we made was that instead of the performance period starting on the date of award, it now starts on the date that the contract agreement is executed. And as I mentioned when I was answering Steve's question earlier, to put a date in that performance period start date, I've been allowing about 12 weeks for the contract to move from the point where the initial award is accepted by the county to the point that the performance period begins. I'm allowing about 12 weeks to get through that entire process. It doesn't change the length of the performance period, though. I will bring that up, is because we didn't change the 12 months. You still get the year to do the work. It's just that the start date on that work has changed. The other change that was made was to the disbursement of the funding. So originally we had that you could request 25% of the funding pretty much up front. And that also caused a few ripples with some folks as we were going through and reviewing the document. So we've made some changes to the disbursement schedule. You can still request 25% of grant funding, but it won't be ahead of any work being done. We're asking that you do some work to get the data up to a minimum threshold that is provided in the solicitation on the webpage, and I'm also showing here on the screen. So any of the changes are in this green text. So you'll want to read through and look at, what was stricken through, and then what was changed is in the green text. So you'll see that there's just been a couple of changes to the first initial disbursement request, availability of funding, and then the 50% disbursement availability of funding. And these final changes in section 8.1 and 8.11 and 8.14 really pertain to that performance period start date. Some of the other things had to be adjusted a little bit when we changed that performance period start date. You aren't going to be required to report on it until the 3 months, and then you won't have to submit an activity report until the quarter following that initial submittal, so that we're not asking you to submit two in the same time period. And then, as I mentioned, on the right-hand side of my screen, I've got the minimum data requirements, and this is what we're asking you to submit the data in this to this level of quality, this minimum threshold for that first 25%. And they should be pretty simple requirements. It has to be in a coordinate system that works. The geometric errors have to be cleaned up. Has to be an acceptable GIS data format. Specific to the layers, that the house number field has to be numeric only. It can't contain any non-numeric characters. For the road center lines, all of the road center line segments have to be split at intersections. For the parcel boundaries, for those that are working on priority 2 and 3 projects, the parcel boundaries, the parcel ID has to be exactly 18 characters, and it can't contain dashes and dots. It has to be only numeric. For EMS and fire, you just have to have a populated name feature, and the same for the incorporated community. So as I mentioned, these documents, I'm sending them with all of the award recommendation notices. So you'll have an ability to download it directly from your award once you click on that link that says, please click here. You'll also can find these in the solicitation files that David pointed to earlier, where you have all of the examples and everything that we've got going with the solicitation. And you can find them also on the Data Harvest website and the grant program page. Can I answer any questions about the changes or where to find them? Okay. Well, if you think of anything, if you have any questions or concerns about anything in the NOFO document that's been revised, just reach out to me directly or reach out to the grants email and it'll come to me and I'll answer that any questions that you may have after you've had a chance to review everything. All right. And that's all I have, David.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, guys, is it, like I said, let me do a quick share here because what I'm going to show you is what Karen just talked about. Remember, to get to those documents that she was just talking about is that, again, we're going to go to the resources for subrecipients, the grant opportunity, the IoT page one, then here are those files, okay? So here's the C grant file that she just talked about for the NOFA with those changes, your documents here for the GIS data required for your initial payment. So anytime you guys need those, you can always quickly and easily go back to that. Is there any questions, you guys, while I'm here on the website, or still have this share screen up that I can answer for you for today? Awesome. Well, thanks you all very much, and I'll turn it back over to you, Karen, if there's anything that you want to wrap up with, or Dan, if anyone has anything to close it out for today. Like I say, I really appreciate everybody being here, and just let you know we got your back. Is that you ever need to contact SBA, simply and easily go down to our management team. You can contact Karen and her group. So just feel comfortable knowing that you're not on this alone. We got you. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, David.
Thank you.
I don't really have anything else to wrap things up. I just did want to point out that I did upload the newsletter, the SBA newsletter, into the chat if anyone wants to access it that way as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks, everybody. Everyone have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.